Jira's gonna die. Linear 2, same as Canva. I don't mean that the companies are gonna vanish overnight. The contracts are gonna renew, the databases are gonna run, and all the admin dashboards, they're still gonna load. But the thing that's gonna die first is the habit. Opening Jira to understand the project, Linear to update the ticket, or Canva to make the first draft. The work is gonna move into Claude or ChatGPT, and the old product is gonna become a place that the agent visits on your behalf. I think it's a quieter kind of death. It's a more dangerous one too, because all the revenue can survive long after the user relationship is gone. The SaaS is going to die when the user stops visiting. If the tool in the middle of the stack doesn't defend against the layer where work happens, they're going to become an expensive backend with a nice logo. They're going to get Sherlocked. But what's Sherlocking? Sherlocking is the Apple move. In 1998, Apple shipped a search tool called Sherlock inside of macOS. Then, Karelia Software shipped Watson, a $29 app that made Sherlock feel useful. Watson searched sites like Amazon, IMDb, and TV listings without forcing you into a browser. It was a small job, and it was obvious, but the users loved it. And in 2002, Apple shipped Sherlock 3 inside of Mac OS X Jaguar. It brought that Watson-shaped experience into the operating system, and it charged nothing for it. It did the same job inside the Surface Apple owned, and of course, it was free. Watson lost because the Apple owned the place where the user already was, and Sherlocking runs on that principle. The move is simple. Take the workflow, move it into the platform, and then leave the original app looking like a detour. And for 2 decades, this was mostly an operating system story. So if you owned iOS, you could swallow a flashlight app or a PDF scanner. Now, the same pattern has moved into SaaS. The surface at this time is chat. ChatGPT, Claude, and the agent runtime sit above the software stack. The frontier labs now own the place where work starts. And once that happens, the rest of SaaS is getting taken layer by layer. I think that the war is being fought on 5 battlegrounds. The AI labs are walking through doors that SaaS companies open for them. First, the front door. Then the pipes, the workflow, the memory, and then finally the vault. Those 5 layers are the task engine, the connection layer, the orchestration layer, the context layer, and then the data layer. Task is where the work starts. Connection is how the AI reaches the tools. Orchestration is how the work flows through multiple steps. Context is how scattered facts become a usable story. And then of course, data is the official record, the thing that creates the legal exposure when it's wrong. The first 3 layers are already sliding towards the labs. Context is a live fight. Data is a concrete floor underneath pretty much everything. Battle 1 is the front door. It's the first battle where the work begins. For the last 2 years, chat meant answers. You asked a question, got a response, and then copied all the useful bits somewhere else. Then the prompt changed. Now, your prompt sounds more like, write the launch plan, turn the meeting into actions, read this messy folder, tell me what matters. The user stopped asking for information and started asking for outcomes. That shift is easy to miss because it happens pretty much inside your habit. You outline a strategy doc in Claude before Google Doc even opens. You test a decision in ChatGPT before it reaches a CRM. Meeting notes become action items before anyone actually visits the project tool itself. The front door has moved. In the old workflow, you open the SaaS product and use the AI as a helper. Now, you're opening AI, describing the result, and the SaaS product waits downstream to execute. The Frontier Labs won because they won the starting point. At first, they still had a problem. Claude could draft a linear update, but you had to paste it into Linear. ChatGPT could summarize the meeting, but you had to move the action items into Asana. The model could think with you, but it couldn't touch the rest of the surfaces of the office. So they built the pipes. This is where the Trojan horse came in. Battle 2 is about connection. MCP enters here. Model Context Protocol. Anthropic released MCP in November 2024 as the open standard for connecting AI systems to the systems where the work already lived. The pitch sounded generous. Bring your product into Claude, give your users a new way to reach their data, and get that free distribution surface into AI. Plenty of SaaS companies heard exactly what they wanted to hear. But then the user behavior changed. Once Linear plugs into Claude, the user no longer needs to open Linear to ask what's happening. They ask Claude. Claude reads the issue, summarizes the sprint, finds the blocker, drafts the update, and then posts it back through the same connection. Linear is still the store of the ticket, but the user relationship moved upstairs. MCP worked as a Trojan horse because both sides of the bargain are true. The gift was real, but so was the cost. SaaS got distribution, and the labs got a map of the workflows worth owning. Every connector teaches them something where the actions repeat, which data matters, what products can be turned into headless backends, and MCP separated the record from the room where the record gets used. Once the pipes were in place, the next move was obvious. The lab stopped reading the tools above and started doing the work below. This is where the runtime came in, and Battle 3 is for orchestration. At this layer, the AI became operational. You see it in Claude Code, Claude Cowork, or Codex. The product names, they matter less than the loop underneath them. Take a request, build a plan, call the tools, check the result, keep moving. A chatbot can tell you where a bug might live, but Claude Code can inspect a file, edit the patch, run the test, and then revise the fix. You don't need to care about code to care about that pattern. Code was just a proving ground because it has errors, tests, and a clear definition of what is done. Now, that same shape is moving into broader knowledge work. Give Claude Code a goal and a folder, it can read the material and then come back with something closer to finished work. The old SaaS workflow starts to split. The tool stores the record, but the agent performs the motion. MCP has moved the data. Now the agent runtime starts moving the work. Most SaaS products were priced around humans living inside that workflow, but Battle 3 attacks that directly. But then the labs hit the hard part. You see, they can own the front door, they can own the pipes and the work loop, but they still lack the memory. This is where Battle 4 comes in. Context is the real war. A strong agent can still be a useless agent inside a company if it doesn't know all about the story. It can read the ticket, it can write a doc, and it can update the CRM, but it's going to miss why the VP of sales killed that similar pricing change 3 months ago. It'll miss that the same customer has one identity in support, another in billing, and another one in CRM. It'll miss that the roadmap says one thing, but the enterprise contract says another, and then the real decision, well, that happened in an untagged Slack thread somewhere else. Context is the company memory that turns facts into judgment. No single SaaS tool owns that entire picture by default. So once a product assembles it, it can get a difficult to replace job. SaaS can still fight here. The frontier labs run into custody problems. Claude can read a document and you hand it one, but the harder job is knowing which document matters, which version replaced it, which promise overrode it, which customer it belongs to, and which employee has the right to see it. From a lab seat, an enterprise looks like a pile of APIs with different names for the same thing. There are 2 walls that SaaS can build here. The first is the timeline. Pull the scattered pieces of your world. Start with the support ticket, the spec, the decision, all the things that are buried within Slack. Tie them to the same customer and then the same decision. When Claude comes looking, the strongest product hands it the case history. The frontier labs could still rebuild that if they wanted, but they're going to have to spend years crawling every seam of a company. Most of the time, it's going to be easier to ask that product that already did all that ugly work. The second wall is the auth syntax. Authentication says, this is Blake. Authorization says what Blake can touch. Can Blake see the record? Can he export it? Can he approve the change? Every serious enterprise app has its own permission maze. Some permissions live at the document level, some live inside a single field, and some come up from that one-off exception granted 6 months ago. Now, put a probabilistic model on top of that, then ask your risk team how relaxed they feel. The answer is going to be short. See, context without permission is a breach waiting to happen. So the surviving SaaS product can become a gatekeeper. It can tell Claude which version of the truth the user is allowed to touch, keep the audit trail, and enforce those weird local rules. It can know that Blake can summarize the account, but he can't export the contract. He can see support history, but not the internal HR note. He can draft the customer email, but legal has to approve the clause. That ugly layer is the work that the frontier lab will hate inheriting. It's slow, local, full of edge cases, and of course, all those angry compliance people. But it's also the kind of work that SaaS can do really well. Do enough of it, Claude has a reason to depend on you. Lose it, then the product falls into the basement. And the basement only has one defense left, which is the vault. The vault still holds the official truth. Think payroll, medical records, the stuff where making a mistake becomes a regulator call, or even a patient safety event. People point to this layer and say, AI will never replace enterprise SaaS, and they are partly right. The frontier labs will circle the vault carefully, but owning the payroll system or the medical chart, it brings a kind of liability that the apps try everything to avoid. The prize is the workflow around those records. That makes Workday or Epic harder to Sherlock than a clean project management app. They act as liability shields, but the shields have limits. The vault protect the signature, but everything before that signature remain exposed. Claude can prepare the report for a human to review, then the human signs and the system of record stores it. So the vault survives while the workflow around it gets eaten. Regulated is not a magic word here. It protects the final accountable state, but it doesn't protect every human hour of labor before that state exists. Most white-collar work lives before the signature itself. That's where the frontier labs are moving. In payroll, Claude prepares the packet before the team signs off. In medicine, Claude's going to read the chart and leave the decision with the clinician. The labs don't have to breach the vault if the surrounding surface is enough. So, if you're building SaaS today, stop asking whether AI is going to replace you. Ask which layer you own. The front door has already moved to chat. Connections are turning into shared infrastructure. General orchestration is moving into the agent runtime. That leaves context or the vault. Become a brain for a domain, or become a vault for a type of risk. The brain is going to own the story, and the vault is going to own the signature. Everything else is going to become plumbing. And plumbing can make money, but users don't build habits around pipes. A company can renew the contract, keep the database running, and still lose the user's daily habit. Watson didn't lose because search stopped mattering. It lost because the search habit moved into the platform. SaaS is facing the same pattern. The work still matters, along with the records underneath it, but the place where humans start and shapes that work is moving upstairs. It moves to Claude, to ChatGPT, to the agent runtime. When AI comes looking for the work, are you the place it has to ask, or are you just the place it writes back to? That split decides whether you become the context layer or the sink in the basement. I'm saying become the brain, or become the vault, or pretty much get Sherlocked. Thanks for watching. I'm Blake.